My name's Mark Rearden. I've been teaching tennis for probably 35 years now. Met Charlie Ellis probably about that same amount of time. I started teaching when I was in my mid to early 20s. Charlie and I met in Augusta, Georgia. I was already working there, and Charlie was the first pro at the Newman Tennis Center, and a little bit before that at the old tennis center, where he came from the University of Georgia. Left University of Georgia, and I guess this was Charlie's first job, tennis teaching job. So I've known him since then. I've spent the bulk of my life in Augusta, Georgia. For 2 years I taught at the North Augusta Country Club, and then for 21 years at the Westlake Country Club, and then for 5 years I taught at Petersburg Racket Club, where I was co-owner with Craig Jones. Left there, and I am currently at the Palmetto Tennis Center in Sumter, South Carolina, 24-court municipal facility where we run just a boatload of tournaments. Charlie and I basically grew up learning how to teach kids together. When I say together, he at one facility, me at another. So from 25 to probably close to 30, I guess would be the age span, we both taught tennis in Augusta, Georgia. We swapped secrets on this worked for this kid, that worked for that kid. Charlie's expertise, for sure, was in the competitive development phase of kids. Motivating juniors, getting them to where they needed to be in order to go play competitive tennis. No doubt, as an ongoing part of the fact that he was an All-American at Georgia and a very competitive tennis player in his own right. He was. And as I say that, many people have been great tennis players, but haven't been able to translate that into how do I get this information to the child or to the parent about how to get to the next level. Well, Charlie is one of those people who can bridge that gap. He has bridged that gap and actually helped me get better at teaching kids how to go from A to B to C, and C being college tennis. In the what we'll just call academy level program, for lack of a better choice of words, I'd probably say there were 20 kids that played in the competitive end yearly in Charlie's program. Now, when I say 20 kids, I don't mean 20 kids total over 4 years or 5 years. That's how many phased in. There were 20, and then 10 of them would phase out, and then another 10 come in. But that competitive group was at least 20 yearly, and I can attest to the fact that all of those people now I know pretty well, simply because I was part of their life along with Charlie. All have grown up to be good citizens, many still playing tennis, many teaching tennis for a living. So to say that he has impacted their lives would be the minimum statement you could make about what Charlie has done for those kids. And to first delineate between the highly competitive players and the players who maybe just want to play high school tennis or just want to have the game of a lifetime, as the USTA sells. Charlie was very good with those kids. He had the rare capability of being able to change gears between kicking butt when he needed to with the competitive kids and being willing to rub a kid on the head and say, "Man, you did great, buddy." He could do that. And again, I think that's a gift. You can't really teach people to do that. You can't teach instructors to have that ability to switch gears. I couldn't put a number on how many he taught, but suffice to say that the entire landscape of Augusta tennis, for juniors especially, changed when Charlie Ellis came to Augusta, no doubt. Probably the list of competitive players who went on and played college tennis or who made a serious mark in the tennis industry. I mean, Al Parker came to Augusta to train with Charlie. Al Parker's won more national surface championships than any junior in the history of tennis in this country. So for his dad to have brought him from Claxton, Georgia, all the way to Augusta, Georgia, to train speaks volumes. So I don't think you need any greater testament than a child who has been the greatest tournament player in the history of junior tournament that came to Augusta to train with Charlie, probably 2 hours away. I think Claxton's probably at least 2 hours from Augusta. Several others that I've grown to become friends with that became good players. Kevin Howard, Brad Bennett, Tracy Skelton, The list really goes on and on. Names which, as you look at this video, may not mean anything to you, but I can promise you to the parents of these kids, it means the world. He's impacted lives, not just with tennis, but personally. You really won't go wrong involving Charlie Ellis in your children's tennis life, for sure. One of the things that's special about what Charlie is doing now, and for one, I just don't see that this model out there. But one of the things that's especially exciting about it is if you're a parent that hasn't either you didn't participate in sports or you're not familiar with the tennis landscape, he can help you dodge the landmines that are surely out there, particularly if the quest is to try to be as good as you can be. There are things that can happen. There are landmines that you can step on that impede progress, slow it down, or can take it completely down the wrong path. You want someone who has done it themselves, and he surely has. You want someone who has directed other people down the right path and has steered them along a pathway that gets you to where you want to go with your child. And to say gets you where you want to go, it doesn't have to mean the highest level of competitive college tennis. It may be my child wants to do well in high school. My child wants to play D3, D2 tennis. Charlie knows that entire landscape. He has seen that entire product happen. You can't go wrong involving him. That's where you want to be. One of the things you want in a tennis coach, or whether you want it in a basketball coach or you want it in a football coach, what you want is you want that person to teach life skills to your child. Charlie Ellis can do that. Tennis just ends up being a venue to be able to do what he can do with your child. So as important as the tennis end of it is, you do want just those life skills, those life applications. Just use it as tennis as the venue, and you're fortunate enough to get both all bundled into one. Before I end this interview today, I just want to take a moment and just give Charlie Ellis a resounding endorsement of what I believe he can do for you and your child. I've spent hours and hours with him. I have watched how he interacts with kids, with adults, and I know what his body of work looks like. He can make a difference for you. He can make a difference for your child. I hope as you hear this from me, and you probably don't know me from Adam, but you can trust that what I tell you is true. I've spent an insane number of hours and years teaching tennis, and you absolutely will not go wrong by involving him in your child's tennis life.